Mr. Martin Schulz, President of the European Parliament, honourable members of the European Parliament, distinguished guests, dear friends. Good morning. I really would like to welcome you to Malta, and I hope this was not too early for you. This is a historical moment for my country, not only because it is the very first time for Malta to be presiding the European Union Council, but also because Malta, being the smallest member state in the European Union, and also one of the very smallest countries in the world, will be leading a foremost regional actor on the global stage. While the European Union holds the historical place of being a primary promoter of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, however, Malta will be taking up the presidency of the European Council during very taxing times, when our European project is being challenged. We are at a time when the European Union needs to invigorate and energize the spirit of the European project, which our forefathers have so aptly envisioned for a stable, peaceful, and prosperous continent, which acknowledges and respects diversity for the well-being of all our peoples. This is a time where we need to revitalize our European ideals. We need to recuperate and strengthen our values that have always distinguished Europe from any region in the world through our social values. Despite these historically challenging times, Malta is determined to make this presidency successful. It is for this reason that we have chosen to put a number of priority areas which are crucial for the prosperity and well-being of all Europeans. Migration, social inclusion, the single market, the European Union's neighbourhood policy, the maritime sector, and security are all interlinked areas of concern that impinge on the aspirations of our peoples. Europeans expect us to work together in synergy and in solidarity so as to ensure their prosperity and well-being. Please permit me to be direct, to voice some of the concerns that are shared with me through my various encounters with Europeans, both in Malta and beyond. Despite the obvious accumulation of wealth historically concentrated in our region, I am afraid that most Europeans are perceiving a paradoxical European Union. For example, despite the great consumer outlets with all facilities of modern technology, which are testimony to the great innovative thinking emerging from our continent and beyond, however, all this is juxtaposed against the constant sight of families and individuals who lack the very basic needs to live in dignity. Poverty is a stark contradiction to what the European Union stands for. 1 in 4 Europeans is poor. I'm afraid that this fact alone illustrates that not all is well in our European Union. Another example is the fact that we face a situation where unemployment levels are high. Even those who have invested in education find themselves in situations where they have gained more qualifications than their parents, but cannot reach their parents' standard of living and quality of life. We must be careful not to turn a jobs crisis into a skills crisis, blaming people for lack of skills or scapegoating migrants for our crisis. We cannot be complacent. We need to walk the talk. We need to regain our strength through an effective social Europe. Malta recognizes that we must act to implement effective and efficient measures which acknowledge the concerns of individuals and communities in Europe and uphold the human dignity for all. These are some of the serious challenges we are facing and which Malta, during its presidency, will attempt to tackle together with all member states so as to ensure that Europeans will regain confidence in our European project and to trust you as politicians. We definitely need a Europe for the people, a Europe with the people, a Europe closer to our peoples. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues of the European Parliament, President, it's a pleasure and honor for us to be received in your prestigious palace. The Maltese presidency in the European Union of the next 6 months will be a presidency in very, as you mentioned, challenging times, and one of the most challenging items is for sure the refugee, the migration, not only problems but debate within the European Union amongst the member states. And I just, dear colleagues, in my bilateral meeting with the President raised the fact that when I came first time in a responsible position as member of the European Parliament in 2004 to Malta, Malta received already in that time around 15,000 refugees here on that island. And I admire your country for the dignity in which and the respect in which refugees are welcomed in your country, and you yourself with your personal commitment also as founder of a foundation sticking to mutual respect and with the goal of integration of the most marginalized in our society. You are a wonderful example that small countries, even strongly challenged, could nevertheless manage such a problem and tackle such a challenge with a strong commitment to our basic values of the European Union, which is mutual respect and solidarity. Therefore, thank you very much. The 6 months ahead will be not only challenging for Malta, also for the European Union as a whole, but your country is led by a Prime Minister who is in the Parliament challenged by an opposition leader, and both were serving in the European Parliament. What should happen better to the European Union than to be led on a national level by a government which is composed by a lot of former members of the European Parliament and opposed in the Parliament by former members of the European Parliament. So I think we are therefore well prepared on both sides for the presidency. And Ms. President, if you allow to conclude with one remark on which is concerning the geographic place of Malta in the mid of the Mediterraneans. The Mediterraneans are still one of the most riskful routes of refugees coming to Europe. Every day people are dying in the Mediterraneans. And the fact that the media attention to it is now reduced should not lead to the fact that we underestimate the drama, which is a daily drama in the Mediterranean. Therefore, the moment we speak about dignity, we should not forget these pictures we all have in mind. The small boy in Bodrum on the beach of Turkey. Such things happens also around your country, around Italy, or between the Libyan or the Tunisian coast and Sicilia. Therefore, Christmas is approaching, and we all are already thinking at the end of the year what is the conclusion of that year and what will be the challenge of the next year. I think every life, this is the spirit of human dignity, every life matters. And therefore, thank you very much for your personal commitment, and I think and I hope that the European Union will continue on the basis of that principle, that this transnational cooperation of countries and nations across borders has one goal: to make the life of citizens more safe and better. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Allow me to introduce my colleagues.